Thank you for coming out and meeting with me.
Of course, thanks for having me out.
Just wanted to kind of go over Jake's test score since we got the results back in. I know you recall back in April we sent home a lot of reminders for them to eat, get plenty of rest.
Definitely.
Okay, and it was for the exam he took, which was the Texas Assessment of Achievement exam. This exam is an achievement exam again, and it measures the developed skills and knowledge that Jake has built and developed over the year. It's taken once a year at the end. So that's what I'm kind of going to go over. If you have any questions, feel free to stop me. Okay. So at the top, we're going to go over the demographics, and it kind of gives my name, the school, the district he's in, Jake's name, his grade when he took the test, which is again back in April, his student ID, and the form that he used, and that was scored with it. So as you can see, this test is broken down into two parts. And so the top part of the test is norm reference information, and the bottom half is the criterion reference information.
Okay. And what does the norm reference mean?
The norm reference mean this exam was given to students with like attributes, so that would be students of the same age and grade across the nation, so that we could compare his test results. Okay. So in the first column, we see the sub-test that was taken in the test and all of their names. So it was over reading and math, language, listening, spelling. Do you have any questions about this column?
I'm not really familiar with the basic battery and complete battery.
Okay, I can explain that. The basic battery, it kind of measures like language, arts, and math.
Okay.
And then complete battery, it's language, arts, math, and then it includes social studies and science.
Okay.
So those weren't actually tested, they just kind of give you the results. So if we move on to the next column, it shows the number of items tested for each subtest. So for example, for reading, we'll see that there were 108 questions that were related to
Okay.
So the next column over would be the raw score, and the raw score is how many Jake actually got correct out of the number of items. So again, going back to the total number of reading, there were a number of 108 questions, and for his raw score, he got 83 correct. Okay, so moving on, we see the national percentiles. And in the national percentiles, we can again look at his reading score, and we see that he scored 53 in the 53rd percentile.
Does that mean Jake failed reading?
Actually, it does not mean that he failed. So if you look at this is a bell curve handout that I gave you, and it kind of lets you see all of the testing scores and how they're kind of graded. So for his national percentile, we can see that he scored 53, and that the percentile equivalence ranges from 1 to 99. So as you can see, the part that I highlighted for you, it shows that the median is in between that like 30 and 80. So the mean is 50, and with him scoring 50 in the 53rd percentile, it shows that he scored 53% more than the norm group.
Okay.
That makes sense to you. Yes? Okay. So if you wanted to kind of look at another one, we could go to vocabulary and see that he still scored in the median.
Okay.
And he's doing really good in that one. So while we're looking at this testing score, we can use his reading, which is in the 53rd percentile, and go over to the percentile bands. And the bands just kind of show his test scores as well, and this shows that at any given time that he takes this exam, he can either score 3 more points higher or 3 less. So it just kind of gives you the range of it.
Okay.
Okay, so going back, we're going to be looking at the next column, which talks about the Stay-Nine's score results. And these are a little more easier to read. They only range, if you look at this, they only range from 1 to 9.
Okay.
And so 1, 2, and 3 would be the lower portion of the Stay-Nine. 4, 5, and 6 would be the middle, and 7, 8, and 9 would be the higher.
Does that mean the 4, 5, and 6 are the average?
Actually, no. That's what is a little different about these test scores. There is no average. It just kind of puts him in the middle. It wouldn't average him out. So if you wanted to go ahead and look at one, we could look at Jake's lowest score, and that would be in math problem solving. So he received a 4. So looking at the Stay-Nine in the Bell handout, we see that a 4 it still falls in the median. So that means that he's still doing good. He could use a little help in it, but he's still with average. So he's not behind or anything.
Okay.
He's doing good. And moving on, we'll go to the next column, which is the scaled score. And the scaled score, it can show growth over several years when compared to the norm group, which is, the students with like attributes again. I might keep saying that a lot just to kind of remind you and keep
That's
in
all right.
mind what that is. So the scaled score is a converted version of the raw scores that we looked at in the previous column over here. So it's the same thing, just a different way to look at it. And both of these, they kind of monitor the student's growth over a period of time. So if we look at Jake's lowest scaled score, we can see that that would be problem solving. And so if we take that back to the bell curve handout, on here, the scaled score ranges from 200 to 800. So with his being a 475, he would still fall in the median. So he's still doing good, it's just that's his lower score. So next week we go over to the next column, which is it's labeled NCE, which stands for the normal curve equivalent, which is just a normalized standard. And that deviation is 21.06. So if we look at that one, that ranges from 1 to 99 on the handout that I gave you. So his was a 36, and so that would still, again, place him in the median, which is still showing that he's doing very well compared to the norm group. So that's pretty good. Are you ready to move on to the bottom portion, or do you have any questions?
No, I think it was well explained.
Okay, thank you. So moving on the bottom portion is the criterion reference section.
Okay, since there are two different sections, does that mean Jake took two different exams?
Oh, absolutely not. It's the same exam. It was just measured in two different ways.
Oh,
so different things were looked at. And so it probably would help you if I told you that the criterion reference information is his results over like a standard or an objective. So
okay.
It's more detailed and more specific. So we're going to go over this one just like we did at the top, and I'm going to go column by column. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. So the first column of this section is going to show his raw score, which again, we cover what the raw score is going to be the same thing for the bottom. And the next one, the next number is how many he got right, or the number possible. So of the number possible in vocabulary, there were 36, and his raw score was 26. So he only got 10 that he missed. And then in the next column, you'll see X's, and this just shows where he scored with his raw score. So it's kind of graphed in that kind of way. Any questions about that so far?
No, I think that.
Okay. So just kind of keep in mind that this is not the same as a percentage. It's just a percentile. So if we look at this, we can see that Jake did very well in his science, and he did kind of very well in his language as well. But then when you look at his social studies and math, you see this is where the X's are placed in the lower section. So
does that mean he is struggling or failing in social studies and math?
Actually, it doesn't. It just means that he probably might need a little more assistance. And actually, looking at his social studies, this is where I could disagree with the scores, because we haven't really covered much. As you can see, he got a medium in the government, because that's kind of what we worked on when the test was coming up. But as far as economics and history and community, we hadn't really touched that much. So I have his portfolio here, and you can see some of his work where, like here, he did really good on it. He understood everything. He met the objectives, understood the concepts. And I have several pages. As you can see, he got 85 on this one. And I have copies of this so you can kind of take it home and look through it and compare it back. But again, I disagree with the testing scores. He's doing really well. If he would needed help, I would have let you know if I saw him struggling.
Okay.
So we've not yet covered some of these subtests that we see here. So, I'm gonna let you look over this for a little and see if you have any more questions before we kind of wrap up. Did you?
Okay. I think it's really understood. Is there anything that I could do to help him in the math that we could do, Jake and I?
Okay, so for his math, we've actually been playing a few math games, and some of them are like cardboards, and stuff that we made in class. So I have those that you can take home and actually play with him and watch him interact and see where he struggles and kind of help him when he struggles. And again, I'm going to provide you with copies and handouts of all of his work that I have here, as well as the test results and the bell curve handout.
Great. I think that would really help.
Okay, so that's about it for me. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me, email, anything, and I'll be here to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you for coming out.
Thank you.